Okay, I am a little ways into creating my saved selections, my alpha channels. Right now I'm working on the hair, and I decided that maybe it would be good to have a record of this so that you all can maybe get an idea of how my brain works when I'm doing a step like this. Feel free to fast forward the video to the step where I start, or maybe go to the next video and see the colors start to come together. Going over here. That'll be good for you all to see how the fact that I'm always resizing my brush, sometimes changing its shape so that it works with the space I'm trying to work in. Using the shift key method to get that cursor to hop in a straight line. Always use a brush size that is appropriate for the area that you're trying to paint. It's all about working efficiently. You'll see these colors swap from time to time because I'm tapping the X key on my keyboard. Clean up there. Right, so in this step, what I'm doing is isolating the hair so that it can be loaded as a selection later on. Some areas I might end up painting them once. Other areas I may need to go in and paint them multiple times. So being able to bring back a given selection can be a really useful technique. I think I'm going to, yeah, I'll leave this how it is. So hitting Q to bring back the marching ants. I'm going over to my channels panel because I can also click this button to save the current selection as a channel. I don't like to show this technique because what tends to happen is as soon as you click over here, things get goofy over in your window, in your canvas. Like, well, where did everything go? If you're viewing an individual alpha channel, it's going to look like this. Deselect, Command D. But this is just a little faster. Sometimes I can double click and then name it hair. And then to restore the normal view, I can click on the sort of a master channel, the gray, and then I can turn off the hair channel. So it can be a little confusing. The quick mask mode is going to make the deselected areas pink, but when you're viewing an individual saved alpha channel, just by toggling its visibility toggle, it's going to look like you're in quick mask mode. So the clue you want to look for is if you're in quick mask, number one, you're going to see quick mask up here in your tab. The second visual cue, this was added to Photoshop fairly recently, maybe 1 or 2 versions back. You're also going to see the layer highlighted with this pink that looks like the masking color. Okay, and then deselecting. All right, so I have the hair. I'm just going to add one more bit here. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to talk you all through what I'm doing here. My thinking is that I don't need anything but let's say this is a sweater he's wearing. So I'm going to want to isolate that area. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a rectangular marquee and select most of the image from top to bottom. Then I'm going to hit Q. So I'm going to do this the opposite way. I'm going to select because the area that I want to isolate with the selection is pretty much mostly down here. So if I hit Q, most of that stuff is already masked out because of how I started. Then when I zoom in, I can take my brush and I can start painting in the other bits. I think I'll just approximate where the skin and the sweater meet. But trust me, folks, this is going to be time well spent, even though it is a bit tedious. Okay, I need to subtract out this part. And subtract out a little bit of that. And then navigating around this curve with a series of shift clicks. If you have a steady hand with your digital drawing tools, then you can just maybe do that in one stroke. Give it a stylized graphic thing. I can fill this area with a larger brush. I can also use my paint bucket tool. Boom. But we're going to see a little later that the paint bucket tool will sometimes leave this sort of haloing because we have an anti-aliased edge. We have a softer edge, a softened edge, because of the type of brush that we're using. So keep an eye out for that. If you use a paint bucket tool, just remember you're going to have to go in and find that edge, paint over it. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it is a detail you want to look out for. Over on this side, I think I'm still painting it with pink. I'm going to finish that part. X to swap to paint with white. And now I've isolated the jacket or the sweater. Okay, so there's a variety of ways of doing that. I could have also maybe used the polygonal lasso tool. Clicked all the way around, wrap that selection down around the bottom, and then save that as a save selection as an alpha channel. So I'm going over here. I'll use the long method, save selection, sweater, and now that's available. Alright, so now I have all of the major parts of my book. Actually, I don't have them all ready to go. I have the head, face, eyes, and the sweater, but I don't have the background. So watch what I do here. I'm going to take the sweater channel, I'm going to load it with the shortcut, which is the Command key. Command click is going to load a selection. I'm going to add to that with the Shift key and Command Shift, I can add the hair, Command Shift, add the eyes, and the face and skin. Then hit Q. Almost have everything. I have a little error right here. I can fix that later. The video ends. I'm going to go ahead and maybe might be fun to have the mouth. Anyway, maybe kind of think and paint at the same time. Back to my brush. Let's just say I want the background just to be the background. So I'll do this. I was thinking it might be fun to have the background color match his lips. Something creepy. Do a lot of really creepy artwork. Right? So this one, I'm going to invert the colors. Image, adjustments, invert. And now I have the background captured as a selection. Why did I go through those steps that way? Because I want you to remember that if you have most of the image already captured as saved selections, as alpha channels, you can try to think strategically and say, well, if I have all these parts already selected, then you load them together as a selection, and then invert that selection or freeze them as a quick mask mode, and then you can flip or invert the quick mask image pixels and then isolate the background that way. So much faster than trying to create a completely new selection. So I'm going to hit Q, bring back the marching ants, and adding new alpha channel, Command D to deselect, and double click, give it a name, just so I don't confuse that with a layer. And then I can click on the gray, hide that, and those are done. All right, so these are going to be available at any time I need to load a selection to paint into it. I can Command click and load them. Or, if you like the long way, this might be more intuitive for some of you, select, load selection, and then choose from the list of channels. So not a very intuitive way of working, but because you really have to dig into these buried features in Photoshop, but this will help with isolating areas repeatedly so that I can have a lot of control over the painting process. So in the next video, I'll be creating some flats and then showing you some strategies for painting the flat color and adding maybe some rendering so we can have some roundness, some modeling of form, some dimensionality. All right. See you in the next video.